Well, hello and welcome to Stateside here on Politics Social. I'm joined by Mikey Famine and by Tim Bristol. How you doing, guys? Can you hear me? I'm not getting any sound from you. Oh, there I am. Hello, Tim.
I was being quiet because I was
Because the
held
intro was
it.
on.
I need you to be quiet for 10 seconds. I was like,
Yeah, 10 seconds are over. 10 seconds are over. Tim, can you
Graham,
hear
pull out
us?
the
Can you hear us,
rocket
Yes,
Tim?
launcher.
I can hear you. I currently live in a dystopian nightmare.
Yes, you do. I don't know what to say about it. We are going to try and talk tonight about, how America can possibly crawl its way out of the abyss,
Maybe
the morass. Is
it's
that the right word?
possible.
The morass.
I have a little bit more, I guess, insight. I just got a job working for a congresswoman.
Yeah.
And after hearing what's been going on in the office for the last couple of days,
Okay.
there are a lot of people who are very concerned about their immigration status.
Yes. I can quite imagine.
And they are very, very panicky about whether or not the government's just going to pick them up.
Yeah. Yeah. And drop them off in Colombia. And obviously, the Colombian president stood up and said, piss off, and then back down again a few hours later, which was not just an embarrassing about face, but it's given Trump a boost in terms of his ability to tell other countries what to do. So, yeah, leopards are eating people's faces, says W. James. You are not wrong, my friend. You are not wrong. So yeah, if you do want to join in the chat, all you need to do is you just hit the subscribe button, which is I'll press the subscribe button here so people
Speaking of pressing buttons, I see that the Bin Podcast Network is tagged in this dual stream, this transcontinental joining of forces. So click that blue, the Bin Podcast Network, and then please, I have a very funny alert on. Please subscribe to the Bin Podcast. It's something funny. You'll have to click it to find out what it is.
Wait, Mikey, does that mean we're internet famous now?
Probably.
So I'll start with Mikey. Mikey, what is your plan like for the next? I know this is going to sound daft. Going, what's your plan for the next 4 years? But have you thought about it? Have you discussed it with your partner? I mean,
yeah, I mean, like, we're poliophiles over here, so
yeah,
we've been watching this since, last year. And everything, unfortunately, when you pay attention enough, you start to guess right a lot. So we've seen a lot of this coming, and Illinois has been avidly trying to Trump-proof the state because the governors do wield some power, and they can slow up the fascist mechanisms that plot towards our location. So it's you have to play it day at a time because you don't know exactly what he's doing. Like all of the stuff that he's trying to do that's extra legal or outside of the law, you don't have a defense for people breaking the law. The law is there to protect people. So if he wants to violate the law, then he's going to have to violate the law and get people to contravene what is to be the case.
But he's done that, and
so when they sent the ICE agents to schools, by the way,
and churches,
trying to get the kids of people that they believe are undocumented, so that to use them as hostages.
Yeah.
When they try to do that, try to get in the school with the doors locked. You know what I mean? Like there are ways of slowing all of this down at every single turn. You know what I'm saying?
But this is putting teachers and nurses on the front line.
They don't care. They have never cared.
Yeah, I know they don't care. I know they don't care. But specifically, I mean, I'm going to have to just slightly derail for a moment because Tim Ballon wants us to talk about, thanks for the super chat, Tim, the AI tech bros about China handing them their AI arses. So this is the story today of $1 trillion being wiped off stocks in America, most notably Nvidia, which lost $500 billion. Don't worry, it's worth about 2.7 trillion still. So, it's not all of its money. But it is like the valuation of some insanely large companies, the equivalent of just wiped out. And the story is this: it's like America is gung ho for AI. Trump last week said he was going to put aside something like $500 billion to give to his new tech bros to develop AI in America using these expensive NVIDIA chips because they can just charge what they like now. That's why their market cap has just gone through the roof in the last few months. And some Chinese company have just done an Iron Man. They've basically built an Iron Man suit out of bits and bobs they found in a garage owned by the Taliban.
Tony Stark.
He built this in a cave with scraps.
They A-team the shit out of this. So they used the shit slow chips, the ones that they could actually buy, and they've managed to make a large language model, which is better than ChatGPT. And that, as soon as news got out about this, for about like they reckon it cost about $7 or $8 million, which is peanuts compared with the $500 billion the US government are thinking of spending on this. And everyone's gone, ooh, so you could do it like really cheap in that. Oh, okay then. Let's do that then.
If only one of the oligarchs didn't have a huge Shanghai plant.
So I was keeping up on this news story throughout the day, and apparently that Chinese AI has already received a huge cyber attack.
Oh yeah, they've had to slow down people downloading it. It's the #1 downloaded app over the weekend in America, but now they've had to slow it down because of a huge cyber attack.
Hey Matt, they called the white hackers, and they're like, "Come on, guys, just take them down. It's for America, damn it."
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. But yeah, to go back,
white hackers is a term. There's like black hackers and white hackers. White hackers hack for good. They usually test the security of like people's websites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're benevolent. And then
white
like the
hat,
black or dark
white hat, Mikey. You're making it sound racial.
I didn't call them white hooders.
No, white hat.
Those would be all the people running around the White House right now.
I am a white hat hacker with the white hat hackers and the black hat hackers. Bloody, I can't even speak now. Right. Anyway, Mikey, sorry, you were telling us like sort of have you got a plan personally? Like if shit
I'm not
goes
saying
down?
it on stream.
No,
I'm
but have you? Yes or no? Have you
Yeah.
had that? You've had to have that. So because of a fucking president, some celebrity who gets to decide shit in a big fucking palace in the middle of
we're
your
preparing.
country, right?
We are preparing.
Wow, that's remarkable. Because I was gonna say I would be doing exactly the same thing.
Why do you think I got a gun on the first election?
Well, I wouldn't get a gun because it would make me seven times more likely to be shot with a gun. But
yeah, by a white supremacist.
I would leave. I would leave. I would just get out of there. I'd be gone by now.
So here's the thing that Europe forgets. Well, Europe and England, because you guys aren't friends anymore.
Yes, we are. I'm friends with you.
They don't like you guys
I'm
much.
friends with everyone.
After your little referendum.
Fraudurendum.
So, everyone's been worried. We were worried enough the first time to prepare ourselves. And now that the white nationalists are marching, I'm glad I took some of my preparations rather than someone else's preparations, you know?
Yes.
Because for my plan to work, I need to be able to move unimpeded.
Right.
And I'm going to be moving unimpeded.
Okay. I can imagine how you might be getting out of there. How I would get out of there if I was you.
I know. And the other thing is, like, Europe has to remember is, do you want MAGA to have the country to themselves?
Yes. Because they'll fuck it up. And they'll be the people starving. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, they won't be starving, Graham. They'll just go get food, you see.
Oh, they'll just get it, yeah. By what? Putting Gatorade on the crops, yeah?
No, by going to take your food. Like, they just go and they pillage. Because if you have a warrior culture that can't feed themselves, they have to go look for food.
Yes.
That's how it works. So if all of us lefties leave America and leave the infrastructure and leave them to their devices.
Hey, that's a problem for Canada or for Mexico. It's not a problem for the UK. I don't think they can swim that far.
Okay.
I wouldn't trust them on a boat. And I don't think they can fly a plane.
Yeah, the American Navy, there's something to laugh at. They could definitely not just, come over from the Mediterranean and say, hey, grab that shit.
But
grab it on your way home, dude.
Tim, to bring you back into the conversation, Are you there?
Yeah.
Who's Tim?
Yeah.
So, what are you doing? I mean, can I ask you the same question? Have you got contingencies in place in case there's a knock on the door?
Semi-serious. Oh, I mean, there's never going to be a knock on my door. I'm a white man.
Oh, you say that now. They'll find something.
Just saying,
They'll find something, mate. You wear
nah, and
glasses. Do you think I'm joking?
a Democrat.
It's
They'll
happened
probably
before.
knock on my door because I'm a Democrat. But
Do you
anyway,
have a college degree?
several.
You have several college degrees and you wear glasses. I'd like to introduce you to the Pol Pot's Cambodia of the 1970s. What happened to them?
He's also got the jab.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there are
The
several.
vaccination.
There are several swords strategically placed throughout my house. But
He's not
You
lying. That is
Americans
not
and
a
your
lie.
fucking weapons. I'm just like, run away. Because, you know, you have
Graham, only thing Graham's got behind the door is a freaking house plant over there. What is he
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
find?
That's all you need.
So
That's all- protect myself.
semi seriously,
Get him, Fern.
I've been trying to move to Ireland for quite some time now, and they just won't let me in.
Oh, shit. Well, we were talking about this on the show this morning, right? What I reckon is that the UK should absolutely open the doors to any American who wants to come here and work for 4 years. That's it. You just get a free visa.
I would do
In
it.
fact, we will pay for your flight to come over, especially if you've got several degrees, Tim. We want your brightest and best. The only thing that we'll have, though, just to rub it in a little bit, is we're going to have an actor dressed as George III from Hamilton waiting for you to greet you at the airport and say, I told you you'll be back.
I will bow to him and kiss the ring and say my leave.
As soon as I bow,
You'll be back.
and then he puts his hand out, I'm gonna slide under that bitch, and he's getting the rock bottom. I'm setting him up for the sweet chin music. I'm not going down like no punk. I'm going to Ireland. They were right.
Honestly, if Britain did this, we'd make an absolute fucking fortune because it's, you know, the people who vote Trump, they're not your brightest sparks. You know what I mean? They're
Dude,
going to be staying there for the whole time.
If you guys offered visas to our medical workers, America's fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh,
They would love to fly over,
do-
have fish and chips,
do with
get to
that.
deal with all that. I'm just saying.
Fish and chips isn't our best thing we got on offer. You know, we've got lots of food.
No, you
from,
don't.
They got lots of
you
meat pies.
don't.
We've got food
Yeah.
from the former colonies, darling. You know,
Oh yeah.
I'd rather go to the colony.
Look, it's
Chinese
not-
food from Hong Kong. Got Indian.
I'd rather
food,
go there.
You know, no, we did.
No.
There's fewer
No.
endangered animals to eat in the UK, I have to say, than in Hong Kong. But you know,
Then you can keep it.
Tim, not this Tim, but Tim in the chat. Tim Ballon has dropped another super chat in. Thank you, sir. I have a Chinese AI board on a flight to me at the moment. Was released a few days ago. Well, there you go.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Well, I
Damn.
mean, get in
He
there.
said, he said it's airborne right now, dog.
It
Touches down
It's
at
coming.
T100 hours.
Okay, so politically then, not about like you having a grab bag under the bed or whatever, and your gun loaded. Like politically, what can actually be done? Because I've seen like the Democrats last week. They just appeared like a bunch of rabbits in headlights. Like, oh my god, I can't believe he's done this. And I'm like, really?
So
This is a surprise to you?
So politically, I mean, it really depends on where you live, right? If you live in a state that has a Democratic controlled government, then you have a lot more protection than a state where you have a Republican controlled government, because of the way our wacky country works is federalism, and states have unique powers that the federal government doesn't have, and vice versa. So here in my state, in Connecticut, Mikey was talking about the raids that were happening in the Chicago area. Connecticut has certain laws passed where the state government is not going to comply with anything ICE does or immigration services does when they're trying to round up people. And the city of New Haven, Connecticut, is actually the first sanctuary city. They were the one that came up with the policy.
Oh, brilliant.
Chicago is one as well, and there was a big stink about the mayor not rescinding Chicago's sanctuary city status.
And
Okay.
the mayor of New Haven has already said he's not going to comply with anything that Trump does.
We ain't doing it.
But there were ICE raids in Chicago, which is a Democrat-controlled city. So how did they happen?
So from what I'm getting some additional reporting over here on the Bin podcast chat. Progress Only is saying that those were Secret Service agents dressed up as ICE. They weren't actual ICE. And the thing is, like, ICE typically, if they have a warrant for somebody and they're going to go get somebody, they'll let the police department in that locality know what's going on, and then they get
Right.
support. Like, they might get SWAT team assistance. They'll get, sheriffs out there to help them and stuff like that.
Okay.
That is not happening in Chicago. You are getting no help. If you go in there, you go in there by yourself. Good luck. We're not helping you.
Okay.
Whatever happens to you because you don't have the city does not sanction what you're up to.
Right.
The federal government might say it's okay, but you are on your own.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in Connecticut, like our legislature just went back into session this past week, and they're already coming up with laws to not cooperate with the federal government. Like, there is going to be a large divide in this country between states who are going to comply with the federal government and states that are not going to comply with the federal government. And Trump has already said, when it comes to disaster relief, the states are on their own. So Trump is unmaking the agreement between states and federal government to help each other.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the wild, wild west out there in Republican states. Texas, good luck. Like,
But
Florida, good luck.
But wouldn't he still give those states, because they're his states, aren't they? They're the ones that vote for him.
Well, it depends
Don't
on
you
how
think
well
he
they're
would
polling
still-
for him. There's already a big fight with Republicans in Florida over differences between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. Like, there is going to be, Trump is bringing about a political war. And it may, I'm not going to make any predictions, but it may turn into like a war. But he's bringing about a political war within his own party over some of this stuff.
Because he betrayed them, which is what I've been trying like eloquently put, but he's doing it better than I could ever say it. Like, Steve Bannon and Elon Musk want to fight. You know what I'm saying? And like Steve Bannon is his general from the first term. Like, that is his guy. Steve Bannon is his dude. He went to jail because the House was trying to investigate him, and he said, "Fuck you." He said, "I'd rather sit in jail. Trump will get me out," and he did.
Of course.
For heisting all the money for that build the wall scam that they had.
Another scam.
So Bannon is like, "Nah, dog, I've been here. You're just a South African. You need to take your ass back to South Africa is what you need to do. And all the rest of your South African Nazis can get out of here." Like Steve Bannon is going at his newfound friends. That's his fight. The Democrats are just like, "All right, everybody get underground, please. Everybody just, they are fighting right now." So like, it's going to be hard for him to fight amongst themselves and control all the Democrats and look out for other parties and the trade war with Colombia. That's going well.
Well, no, it's gone well for America. Well, it's gone well for Trump because they backed down. They said, okay, you can bring people back here on military flights, which is what they didn't want. They said you can bring them over in domestic flights, what are they called, civilian flights. That's fine. We just don't want them coming shackled and bloody army planes. And the thing is this. It's way more expensive to the US taxpayer to bring people over on military planes. Way more expensive.
That's why, Senator Lindsey Graham said that Congress needs to fund the deportation program because there's no money in the budget for it. And second, they say it needs to be funded. It's going to cost billions of dollars to do this. And the same thing happened to Mexico. We sent military planes to Mexico with deportations, and Mexico said, "Fuck you." Mexico said, "Turn them around." There were 4 planes that were supposed to be set. 3 of them were sent back, and one of them didn't even take off because Mexico was like, "Go fuck yourself."
Was this last week or was this a while ago?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Arabica's up already.
Some countries we can push around. Some countries we can't. Mexico's not going to be pushed around by us.
But this is the thing, like, it's really shit that Colombia had to back down because he was threatening 25% tariffs, going up to 50% next week or
I
something.
mean, if I was Colombia, I would have been like, do it, because Colombia produces a lot of coffee this country uses.
Yes.
People would have been pissed real quick.
Well, yeah, but then people in Colombia would starve. Do you know what I mean? Like America can live without its coffee, but Colombia can't live without money. So I think they
So
just
you're
looked at
gonna
the situation and just
again,
went, fuck it.
but again, this is the guy who's gonna make your life cheaper in every single facet. And man, you're gonna get so sick of the winning. When your cup of Joe, when your everything costs, like these are all you know what I mean? These are the things that on our side of the media, our little independent media, these are the things that we highlight and point out because these are the things that are going to affect the voters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are going to affect the people who are like supposed to like jump up and join this raucous crowd when they're all of these little things tick, tick, tick away at the armor that he has of this like rabid racist populism.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing about the coffee, Jane Lockwood saying British Columbia, it's two O's by the way, sorry, had stuck to their guns. They supply nearly all of the coffee to the USA. Tariff away, orange one. But the thing is, you can get coffee from other places. You get coffee from Costa Rica, you can get it from Ethiopia, you can get it from Java, you can get it from Kenya. There's a lot of places you can get coffee from. So it's not like saffron. The only place you can get it was Zanzibar. Do you know what I mean? It's like they don't have a monopoly on coffee. I think they just looked at the situation because the president came out, the president of Colombia came out all guns blazing and made this most amazing speech about his history and the history of the Colombian people and the fact that his great-grandfather was born in the Americas, whereas Trump's father came over, or his grandfather came over here as an immigrant. He's not even like a real American. It's not like having anything going in. But yeah, within a few hours, they'd obviously had a meeting and gone, shit, everything we sell from the States, they can source from somewhere else. So what we need is entire trade blocks like the EU or like Mercosur or CARICOM or ECOWAS or whatever, all ganging up on Trump together and saying, right, a tariff on one is a tariff on all of us.
And I think they're doing like a Latin American, like a conference with the leaders of those prospective countries because for that exact reason. Because if he's going to just start shoving his weight around and trying to bully everybody, well, people don't like bullies. You know what I mean? You might be able to get a couple of shoves in, but eventually everyone will stand. I've been sanction the U.S. We'll be okay, but do it right away. You know what I mean? Get this weird dictator streak out of him quick. Or he's just going to get more emboldened this because every time he bullies somebody, he's going to get a little bit bolder every time.
Oliver Brown said, don't forget the other stuff Colombia exports a lot of. Yeah, but I don't think they could put a tariff on that.
Donald Jr. will be devastated.
Yeah. He wouldn't bother getting up in the morning. But going back to sort of the politics of all this, like, Tim, you work with the Dems. Like, what are they actively doing? Because at the moment it seems very responsive. It seems very like Trump does this, we say that, or whatever. It's not. There doesn't seem to be a plan. Is there a plan coming, or is it just going to be putting out fires forever?
I can't say that it's right now. It's damage control. Right now, everything they're doing is damage control. I don't know what their overall strategy is going to be with handling Trump at the level of Congress. I know that I've seen communications where they're trying to work out a budget deal with the Republicans, and they're waiting on like the official numbers for what the Republicans want, and then they'll counter because a budget basically can't get passed without them. And because the House has such a small majority in it, if any of the Republicans defer from that, they're just not going to get anything done. So they're trying to figure out a way that like maybe maybe everybody gets a little bit out something, but not everything. And I think their plan is going to be the midterm elections. I think if I was the Democrats, that would be my plan. They're already starting. There's a couple of articles I've seen today where the Democrats are attacking Trump on not lowering the price of groceries on day one, like he said. They're going to like prod him and needle him on all the things that he hasn't done that he said he was going to do. They're just supposed to help people. And they're going to hopefully put together a good strategy for winning back the House and the Senate. That's the best they can do right now.
A better strategy
Or
than they had last year.
yeah,
Well, let's hope.
and defend at a state level too. Like I said, there's some very populated Democratic states like California who hold a lot of economic power who can fight Trump.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to. They don't have the ability to fight Trump on all the executive orders. Those usually end up in the courts, and the courts have been taking jabs at Trump too over like the birthright citizenship stuff,
which is just moronic.
Well,
that's a Steve Miller talking point that he's been on forever, and I can't believe Trump's dumbass said it out loud. Like it's just so moronic.
But doesn't
just a waste of time.
You see, I think it's going to go through. I think it's going to get to the Supreme Court, and they're going to go for Trump's interpretation. But the back end of that is that it essentially means that the people who are covered by the exception to birthright citizenship are not covered by American laws because it was invented for the children of ambassadors. Am I right? Am I right? Like suddenly you're going to have a load of people who are officially beyond American law. Is that it?
Well, it's in black people as well, because the 14th Amendment is what transformed black people from slaves into citizens, right? So it's not just, oh, I'm going after like this is the Nazi racist shit. This is it writ large. This is the final act, as you will. Like they're trying to like, oh, we'll get rid of all of the migrants, and then we'll just who will go in the fields? Like you guys can look at it with these like weird glasses, like, oh, well, it's just like, no, these dudes are racists. They're trying to bring back the Confederacy.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yes, they are. And
people voted for the Confederacy for eggs.
No, they didn't. They voted for Trump because they're racist fuckwits. That's why.
They voted for the Confederacy because they wanted cheaper eggs.
No, that's just an excuse. That's just they're like, why did you hit this person? They called me names. Do you know what I mean? It's just an excuse. They just wanted to hit someone. These are angry people who, have not achieved anything in life and they hate themselves as a result of that, and they take that hatred.
That's not true.
On others.
That's not true. These people they think they are absolutely normal. They have no knowledge of history. They don't know what district they're in. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't give a shit about politics. They just watch, they watch football, they watch Desperate Housewives, and then they work. They
Desperate
have no
Housewives.
Idea.
Mikey, what year is it? That was such a 20-year-old reference.
Going on. They watch 90 Day Fiance. That's what they watch.
There's tons of housewife shows. Desperate Housewives Part 75. Yeah, now that's what I call housewife.
It's a whole universe of shows.
No, that's what I call desperate.
75. We've had a question in the super chat that's come in from Damien. Thank you so much for that, Damien. That's really kind of you. Could California secede from the states? Thoughts? I'm going to say no, but I'm then going to hand it over to Tim. Tim, what's your thoughts on California seceding?
I mean, theoretically, but boy, that's not a good idea for California or for us, right? Like California,
everybody loses.
Everybody loses. California would lose a lot of funding from the federal government. But on the opposite side of that, California is like its own economic superpower.
Yeah.
Like if California left the United States, boy, would the United States be in trouble.
Yeah.
Chicago might be okay.
But I think at this point, states seceding from the union is sort of a little bit beyond like what anyone's thinking about. I know Texas threatens it every once in a while, but they don't actually mean it.
We're not technically in the union.
Yeah. The problem with states seceding from the union, actually with the exception of Texas, is they're so tied into the infrastructure of the country at large.
Oh yes.
It would be very difficult.
The electricity grid, the east one, the west one, and then the Texas one.
Texas has its own electrical grid, so they could do whatever they want. But it would be very hard for a state to actually physically like secede from the union because of all the interconnections and the infrastructures. And economically, like California, they're an economic powerhouse, but there's certain things they get from being the United States that they wouldn't get from being their own country. They would have to negotiate all of that. So
lose all their military bases.
That's true. Like
Well, that's
it
their
is
own
a lot
military, wouldn't
harder
they?
than it was in 1860. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
Yeah, I get that. So what's your take on it, Mikey?
No. Like, but again, like, I don't think anyone's trying to let the bad guys get a free country as a consolation prize for being bad guys. You know what I mean? Like, they don't get this place for free. It's not theirs.
Yeah.
It's everyone's. So if anything, they can get the hell out. They can take their asses to fucking some island out in the middle of nowhere and just have like their totally fantastical white nationalist apartheid. Go for it. Like
Yeah.
just go for it. But you can't have it here. There's too many of us and we're not going. It's not happening.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I would react. I think I would react differently if fascists took over the UK. I think I'd just get out of here. It would be difficult because my family and everything. I couldn't take everyone with me. But considering, I don't have like a massive fucking presence online or whatever. But I've said enough nasty things about the government that if they were going to start taking people out, I'm sure I'm on some list somewhere. Hey, we got another super chat from Tim. He's been very generous tonight. Don't forget, Mike and Tim are both women, as their female, which was determined at conception. So there's a new rule by executive order. Trump has decreed that all citizens, all human beings in the United States, are now female, because it's your sex at the moment of conception, not birth, but conception, when we're all female.
He's so stupid. I hope everybody sees now.
6 weeks or something.
I hope everyone sees now. This dude is stupid.
They won't. They're too stupid to see the stupid, Mikey. I keep telling you this. Like they either don't care or they don't understand, because
he might as well have a flat earther in charge of NASA. Like, he's just stupid.
Lycian, thank you very much to Lycian for the £5 super chat. I just finished watching today's morning brew. It was absolutely supreme. Best video ever. Purists and Nazis, Nazi enablers here in the US and everywhere. Thanks very much, and thanks for the £5, and thanks for agreeing with me. That doesn't normally happen on this channel, so yeah. Well, once every blue moon.
I missed the morning show because I live 6 time zones away. What do you mean by purists?
Yeah.
So this was about the idea that some people didn't vote for Kamala because her take on the Gaza situation was too diplomatic. It wasn't radical enough. It wasn't slagging off the Israelis enough. It was, a politician's answer to a question. It was a very, very difficult thing. People were like, "Oh, I'm not going to vote for you now. Go away." And as a result of that, she got if she got the same number of votes that Biden got in 2020, she would have won. It's as simple as that. And we had the same problems over here, where people on the left get really, really upset about their one particular topic that they give a shit about, whether it's the EU or UBI or the trains or whatever it is.
Genocide.
And basically, instead of getting the thing that could, build a road towards the thing that you actually want, we get a fascist who just wants to destroy all of Gaza and kick all the people out of Gaza and call it cleansing, because that's a really lovely word to use.
Let me play devil's advocate here a little bit. So imagine that your voting base, and let's say you're in America, and your voting base wanted, let's say, basically 3 things: guns for everyone forever, abortion is completely illegal, and low taxes. Right? You're a Republican. But the purity test for Republicans is basically those 3 things. And Trump said, "I will give you those things." And they voted for him. Now, let's say that Trump didn't give them those 3 things. Would Trump have still gotten voted for?
Yes, because he told them he was going to get them a wall. He told them he was going to get rid of Obamacare. He told them a load of shit last time he was in. He didn't do any of it.
But he was able
He told
to
them he was going to give them
Democrats.
tax cuts. He didn't. He put taxes up for normal people. He gave tax cuts to his mates who are billionaires.
Right, but Trump just says things, right? He doesn't care about any of the things that he does.
We have this
He just blames the
situation on
Democrats
this
for it,
side. This is how we ended up with Boris Johnson as our prime minister. Like, the people on the right don't give a shit about policy. They just want
Oh, no.
power. They just want to be.
They care.
They
They
realize.
care very specifically about certain policies. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Is
but
like,
they're willing to wait. They're willing to go. Okay, I want abortion illegal, right? So, but I'm still going to vote for the Republican who doesn't necessarily say they're going to make it illegal, because I know that 30 years down
But
the
they
line,
all say it.
they'll make it illegal again.
but they all say it. Like,
It's across the board. The Republicans are, oh, we're all pro-life. Like it's across the board. Like that
Was
is their
Reagan
platform.
saying stuff like that? Was George
Yes.
Bush?
Yeah.
They were saying
I
we're
would
going to
say
stop abortion.
Republicans were saying that as far back as Reagan. Like that, Reagan was the first. Like all
'Cause-
three:
'cause
low
wasn't-
taxes, evangelical.
Yeah, but
Uh,
weren't the conservatives back in the day who were really supporting abortion? Like it became a political issue on the left
I think
and
that was
right
in
in
the
the
70s.
1980s, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
that was
late 70s, early 80s.
that was when Roe v. Wade got passed. When all the conservatives were like,
Right.
"Oh, well, we're all anti-abortion now."
Yeah, and then they realized it was a way into the evangelical vote, which they,
Yep.
needed.
Right. They were
Well-
courted by evangelical leaders to
Yeah.
say those things, and then they figured out that it was a good way to get votes.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the way that it works in the UK and seemingly the way it works in the US is that if you're on the right, you could be a horrible, horrible person. You can do the most horrible things and everyone forgives you. Whereas on the left, if you did something shitty in 1997, people will still hold it against you to this day. Even if you completely change your stance on that issue and things have changed, the society's changed, they'll still hold it against you. Whereas on the right, they're like, oh yeah, that guy mounted an insurrection against our Parliament building, and 5 people got killed directly, 9 people altogether indirectly, and that's fine. He can let off all the people who rioted on that day.
I would say that, like, when Joe Biden ran for president the last time and he won, like he has not changed many of his stances from like the 50s whenever he became a senator. And
1850s.
The 1850s. I was gonna say.
And the Democrats were, thrown out there. He's always like the most progressive president ever. No, he fucking wasn't. He
Most
was
corporatist president ever.
Like, I think
I mean,
think
it's a low bar, to be fair. Progressive presidents in America, like to us in Europe, you're all conservatives. Like you're all on the right. There are no left-wing leaders ever in the history.
I think
of
the
America.
problem with the left and Kamala Harris was that Kamala Harris represented no change
at all. And she promised nothing different than the Biden administration. And they just watched everything we just listed.
And the left was promised a lot of things by the Biden administration and barely got any of them. So if the left was upset with Kamala, it was because she wasn't going to change anything.
But would she be able to change
same.
anything if she didn't have control of the Senate or House of Representatives? I feel like Biden got through it, stuff that he could actually get through. But this is the thing about being an American president. There's sod all you can do except create trouble in your own backyard and go on daft military adventures abroad.
I like the term daft military adventures.
Yeah.
the new hit show.
It happens. But there were a significant number, Mikey showed me an article, where, a significant number of people who didn't vote for Kamala because of her stance on Gaza. Okay, cool. Now you've got a fascist in charge, and Gaza is literally going to be wiped off the map in the next year. There will be no Gazans left. The Israelis will kick them all out, put them in refugee camps in Jordan, in Egypt.
What do you care?
Bank.
What do you care if your family's already dead?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Still 2 million people live there who want to remain there.
Well, I mean, at this point, Trump has gotten a ceasefire, which Biden couldn't do.
No,
for
Biden
18
got the
months.
ceasefire. It came in the day before Trump was inaugurated.
Check the phone logs, dog. That had nothing to do. Why would they get a ceasefire on his last day?
Because they held off that ceasefire that they were supposed to have a year ago until Trump got elected. So Netanyahu and Trump would not have to go to jail for their many, many crimes against humanity.
Yeah, but they're crediting one of Trump's go-betweens with all that.
Right.
Like,
who literally flew over there on the Sabbath and was like, nah, dog, we're doing this today.
Because Netanyahu said that he was going to give that win to Trump.
Yeah. Even though
the fix
it was
in,
put to him by Biden the exact same deal that they've gone for was put to him a year ago by Biden. And Netanyahu said, no way, there's no way we're doing that. Absolutely no way.
So then you're saying magically on Biden's last day, he got...
No, I'm saying that whole process, they took his homework. They went, here you go, okay, yeah, that's a good peace process. But we need to wait till our man Trump gets in because he's going to be great for Jews around the world because he's a Nazi. And, you know, historically, they've always treated the Jews very well.
Well, the Israelis.
Well,
here's my
they both want an ethno state of Jews, right? Like they're aligned in that one vein of thought that they don't want Jews in America and in Europe, and then Israel's like, yes, bring them to me, give me all of them. Yes, I want them all. We don't want to be by all. Give us that, and also America pay. Also, America, you need to pay for all this.
Yeah.
Trump
taking the credit for what's happened in Israel is absolutely laughable. I mean, the guy's playing golf, the guy's doing rallies, the guy doesn't give a shit about Israel.
He sent a real estate investor over to Israel to interrupt Netanyahu. They sent him away. He said he doesn't take meetings. He says, oh, he's taking this meeting. And then the next morning we have a peace deal. So the
peace deal that was exactly the same as the one proposed by Biden a year ago. That Netanyahu said, over my dead body. Yeah. Wink, wink.
So then why would he do it all of a sudden?
Because Trump got in and he's not going to go to jail. Netanyahu has just done all of this to keep himself out of jail. In fact, Trump has done all this to keep Trump out of jail. So, you know, the birds of a feather.
So I don't know if I would go as far as calling Trump a Nazi. I don't think Trump himself is a Nazi. Trump is a useful idiot to the Nazis.
What does he have to do to be a Nazi?
I don't think Trump cares about any of that. I think, like you said,
he cares
about not going to prison. He cares about golfing on the weekends, and he cares about pretending to be president.
Yeah, he's an idiot. But then they thought Hitler was an idiot as well.
Well, I don't think Trump is effective as Hitler was.
No, he doesn't need to be. He's got people around him who know what they're fucking doing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Hence the executive orders ready to go on day one.
Right, but he didn't write any of that stuff.
No, he didn't.
It was just told to him.
Yeah,
but he signed the paper.
The people around him are Nazis, and the stuff he wants to do is incredibly Nazi. I mean, it didn't start with the death camps. It's Holocaust Memorial Day today. It's 80 years since the liberation of Auschwitz. And like, they didn't start like that. They started with deportations, Jewish people being deported out of Germany in the 1930s because they were undesirable.
I'm not denying that like all of Trump's advisors aren't Nazis because they probably are.
And Elon Musk.
Yeah, and Elon Musk.
A Hitler salute.
He did the salute. Yeah. I saw a funny reaction to that, and the guy was like, "So what Elon was doing there was a Nazi salute. It just was." But I don't think in the past Trump was ever like Trump is a racist. He's an old racist man. But yes. I don't think he particularly subscribes to the Nazi stuff. He just listens to it because
what's the difference? Because he, to me, is a genocidal maniac who doesn't care about people whether they live or die or starve to death. A guy who lobbied to get innocent black men put to death for a crime they did not commit. A guy who has numerous times proven to be a massive racist shit. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what he has to do to prove himself a Nazi.
Over on the Bin podcast chat, Progress Only says Trump used Israel against Harris like Reagan used Iran against Carter.
Yes,
it's the same thing.
Absolutely, that was all set up by Carter, and then Reagan took all the credit.
Right,
and then it turned out that Reagan was doing a deal with the Iranians so that they wouldn't release the hostages until after the election.
Yeah, Miriam Adelson and her family have nothing to do with Trump sending somebody over in the middle of the night and say, "All right, you ready?"
I would say
this is the most transactional guy ever, and I'm like, aha, a transaction. You're like, that can't be a transaction. Biden did something right. And it's like, nah, dog.
I would
no.
Here's how I would put it. I think Trump is more of a Mussolini than a Hitler.
I think that's fair.
I don't think he's particularly.
So he's a fascist, not a Nazi. What's the difference?
Yeah. Well, Nazis were more like turbo fascists, right? They believed in the supremacy of like the Aryan race,
Yeah.
and they
The
believed
white race,
in,
yeah.
but they also believed in state controlled commerce, and Trump does not believe in that.
Oh, I mean, okay, but I mean,
I'm just saying.
That's where he splits off. Yeah.
as
I
Mikey's
think-
pointed out, the going after the 14th Amendment is because he wants to stop black people being citizens. He's threatening his neighbors for living space, I guess he calls it.
Mussolini.
No,
That's it.
no, I'm talking about Hitler. This is what Hitler did, and this is what Trump is doing, threatening his neighbors, saying, "I need Greenland for the the resources that are there, taking the Sudeten land, taking half of Czechoslovakia. No, I'll just take a little bit of Canada. I'm not going to take all of it. I'm going to take the Panama Canal." That is as Nazi as it gets. And I know that the Italians invaded Abyssinia, but at the end of the day, like the Nazis were very similar to the Italian fascists.
But Trump is never going to act
ways.
on any of that. He's never going to actually take Greenland or Panama. He's pretending. He's pretending like he has the power to do those things. He does not.
He does have the power to do it.
Says who? Him?
What, are they going to take him to the International Criminal Court, which America's not a part of? Or the War Crimes Tribunal in The Hague, which America's not part of?
Right, but he's never
the UN going to make a resolution against them that they can't veto as a permanent member of the Security Council?
Right, but is he ever going to actually like invade Panama or take Greenland by force?
Why not?
I think that the international community would have something like
what can we do?
America the
Your
bad
army's
guy.
26 times bigger than all of ours put together. I mean, what can we do? We just have to smile and nod and go, all right.
All the big players have nuclear weapons. I'm just saying.
Look at the drop nuclear bombs, and then we'll all be dead. It's not going to happen.
So you're gonna let them do like this is like you're asking us the question as if the question is not also your question. Like if there is a rising military fascist dictator on the march towards your border, you're like, America, do something. It's like, dude, you need to do something. We have already told you the cow is out of the stable. You know what I'm saying? And everyone keeps looking at us like, can you get your cow? It's like, bitch, no, the cow is way down there. Yeah. Everyone as a Earth needs to understand how deep a threat this is to everyone.
Well, that's my point. I don't see what's going to stop him doing any of the mad shit that he wants to do. He just pardoned 1,500 fucking terrorists for the worst terrorist atrocity since 9/11.
Domestic terrorists, give them their proper.
They're terrorists.
Hey. They're insurrectionists.
They're terrorists.
They're political hostages.
And they smashed up your Parliament building and led to the deaths of 9 people, caused $3 million worth of damage, and injured 150 cops.
But
I know
Graham,
that we don't like the cops on this channel, fucking pigs. But I don't want to see them getting beaten up necessarily.
But Graham, all of that has to be put into through the lens of American life. How many school shootings this morning? Let me check. How death and wanton destruction is rampant in this country every day.
We do have a lot of political violence.
Well, so what?
Every day.
But then
it's
you
just
have
not reported.
Then you have a remarkable incident, and on 9/11, thousands of people died around the world of fucking diarrhea, and it wasn't on all newspapers and all the news channels for several years afterwards because that shit happens every day. September the 11th doesn't happen very often. It's a once in a generation event. The insurrection on January the 6th was a once in a generation event. Well,
so you're talking about
9 4 years, to be honest with you.
You're talking about 9 people dying, bro. It's a
no. It was a spectacle. It's not about the stats of this many people died or that many people died. It's about the spectacle of thousands of lunatics swarming your Congress building and killing people. To stop a democratic vote.
What time did it happen at?
The afternoon.
It was like 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And then by the time 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock got around and people started getting out of work and hearing what happened, Fox News had already snuffed that all out. Dude, it was just a riot, and then people were tripping. Everyone else is watching what's happening. They have no idea what's happening. They have no idea what they voted for. They have no idea what they're in for.
Oh, no, I disagree.
When you ask them what their policy is or what they like most about Trump, they can't tell you anything.
Yeah, because
they are blinded. They are blinded and in this cult of personality.
Yeah,
and can't see the forest for the trees.
You're right.
So
They can't articulate why they voted for him, but emotionally they voted for him because he makes them feel good about themselves. He's the first person to ever come in their lives. Their teachers made them feel shit because they're thick as pig shit and they're the bottom of the class. The person they work for make them feel like shit because they're thick as pig shit and bottom of the class of work. I don't know, however it works. You know, everyone in their life has made them feel like a piece of shit. And then along comes Trump, the savior, and says, "No, young racist man from Mississippi, you're actually amazing. You know, the fact you've never had a girlfriend, that's actually a superpower. You are an incel, Captain Incel."
That wasn't even his thing. His whole thing was, you hate those Mexicans, don't you?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. Like, that's all it was. He didn't make them feel good about themselves. He made them feel bad about other people.
Yeah, but he made them feel good about themselves being a racist. Like, all their life, they've been told that being a racist is bad. Everything they see on TV, all the movies they watch, says being racist.
I'm just saying he didn't have a Joe Rogan effect where he made them feel manly. He gave them someone to blame for their problems.
Okay, well, whatever it was, it made them feel good.
I mean?
Whereas on the left, we just make people feel
because
bad
there's still because there's still beta males with like low testosterone. Because I haven't seen a single MAGA hat out and about. Ain't nobody flying them fat flags anymore because shit didn't change. They still broke, and now they're like, "Fuck." Yo, why are the streets broke? Like, it's like you won't see it yet, and I'll give it a couple of months, and then maybe I can like show you some other stuff to prove what I'm saying. Because like it's not gonna go the way they think. Like they're not gonna have this grand rising to prowess and sweep the nation and take over. They're gonna be fighting the whole time, and everyone is still broke. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna fix like we are actually in a very dire economic situation, and him not solving it is not gonna like, oh, let me just ignore the fact that everybody's about to get put out of their place because these landlords have gone crazy. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to fix the real problems that we actually have, and reminding people about those actual problems.
I think you're right. I think you're right that he's not going to fix them, but I think you're wrong that people will care. I think his voters will forgive him of anything, just like those cults back in the day that said the world's going to end on March the 17th. The world didn't end, and it made them believe more than ever.
Well, when people don't have a place to live, they're going to look for someone to blame. And they'll blame immigrants. Going to be the guy who promised them the world. How can you blame immigrants for when he's deported all the immigrants? There's no one left to blame.
You're bringing logic to an emotion fight.
well, you're using a reason that he's saying he's getting rid of. Like he's removing one of your premises, and that's what we're saying. Like he's getting rid of all the things that he can blame for all of these. You know what I'm saying? So these people aren't going to have. They're going to be stuck at the bottom of the barrel with all of the other scared people.
You know what I'm saying? Get rid of all the immigrants, though, is he?
No, he's not. He can't. He's already pissed off some of his base by releasing those January 6th insurrectionists. Yeah. All the police who were for him are very pissed off that he let those people go without a thought.
I've not seen. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I've not seen any clips of a cop being interviewed about this, except for the cops that were actually in the Capitol on the day. I've not seen anyone else, like a cop in Florida or something, saying, "Well, my fellow brothers in blue got fucked over by this orange bastard. I hate him. I wish I never voted for him." I've not heard anyone say that.
Well, they're not
going to interview them.
Yeah. Well, they're not pissed off. They're like, why is Trump siding with the criminals? Basically, not everyone subscribes to the fact that Trump believes that they're innocent babies who are just put in prison. A lot of people think that, maybe some of them didn't deserve to be in prison, but the violent ones who killed police officers deserve to be in prison. And that's the part that the police officers are upset at. And the police unions have come out and said that they're upset about it. Because Trump was letting go dangerous criminals who should remain in prison.
Yeah.
Leopards ate my face in the lot.
He's got away with it. He's got away with it. And I think he's just testing the water to see what he can get away with. He's got away with that. He's got away with what happened with Colombia. He said he's going to put tariffs on them. They backed down immediately. I mean, that really doesn't set a very good precedent for the rest of the world. If he's going to demand crazy shit, like a blowjob off the King of England, we'll have to give it to him, because otherwise he'll slap massive tariffs on us and destroy our economy.
Going back to the Panama situation, if Trump uses the United States military to take control of the Panama Canal
Yeah.
Do you not think the rest of the world, who is very invested in the Panama Canal, would be very upset?
We could be upset, but what can we do about it?
It's
Well,
the
that
rest of the
realistically.
world. You have most of the world's population behind you at that point.
Okay, and what do we do? Do we stop buying American stuff?
Take back control of Panama.
So we send our troops into Panama to fight the American troops in Panama.
Listen, I'm not saying that Trump's not going to start a world war, because he probably would if he did that. Because there are so many other
I don't
countries
think
who are
it-
invested in the Panama Canal.
I don't think because
He would
they'll still
he would stop global trade
Right.
not necessarily. He would stop boats for a few days, and then as soon as they
for
took control
months.
of
They
it,
have
it
to
wouldn't
go
take very long.
around South America,
No,
which
but
takes
once-
so much
once
extra time.
Americans
11 days.
once Americans took control of the canal, then boats would start flowing through it again.
Right,
If
but he
he-
would start
if he
charging them
decides.
crazy amounts.
Yeah, if he
Like,
decides to put it through.
his
Yeah.
whole problem with the Panama Canal is that
They'll
they're
demand money
charging
for it.
American ships extra money or whatever,
Yeah,
and he's going to go take
was
it
all
and charge
ships.
everyone else extra money.
yeah.
He's going to cause either an economic catastrophe or a global military catastrophe.
I'll tell you this now: no one's going to go and bat for Panama. It's got no allies. It's not part of NATO. The UK is not going to pay billions of pounds to go and
So,
send
so,
some people
so-
over
so-
to Panama.
well, if y'all don't, then you're giving Elon Musk the Panama Canal to control.
Yeah, but we don't have the money. We don't have the arms. We don't have the army. We don't have the navy. We don't have the air force. We don't have the facilities to do it. What do we use as a launching pad? The Cayman Islands. I mean, it's just it's if he does go for it, I don't see what's going to stop him. I don't see what's going to stop him taking over Greenland and pretending that it's what they wanted. I mean, this is straight out of the Putin
Yeah, they put the
playbook.
Trump hats on them homeless people. That was
Yeah.
fucked up. I'm like, yo, you could have
It's-
gave him some regular clothes too.
Yeah.
Like, give him
It's-
some food.
It's very interesting that me and Mikey are like, please stop us. And apparently the rest of the world is going to be like, nah.
Yeah, but they
Yeah,
are.
let him run wild at y'all's risk.
But what can we do realistically? What can we do?
What can
Sanction
you do
America.
against what can you do against a bully? You fight.
Economic sanctions.
Economic
Yep.
sanctions? Well, yeah, that would be good, but it would cripple us economically.
Oh, so you don't want to lose anything. You just want your life to be perfect and then everything to be perfect
No.
everywhere.
When
Oh,
you
okay.
have an economic downturn of that degree, when you go into a depression, which would happen, millions of people die. Like the poverty rates go through the roof and people die.
You're right. Don't
And
do
we're
anything.
we're not going to say, oh, do you know what? We're going to sacrifice 5% of our population to save the Panama Canal from the Yanks. It's just not worth it. It'll be like saving Taiwan from the Chinese.
Well, my brain works by moving multiple levers at the same time. But if you do one at a time, that's your thing. I mean, that's cool. I would do multiple things at the same time instead of like, but if you actually like, and this is what pisses me off about a lot of global politics. Don't tell me we're this like profitable, great, first class Western society when we have the entire rest of the world that we largely ignore, we treat like garbage. And then when any time that the global south, if any of those problems creep or drip onto our perfectly pristine carpet, everyone wants to lose their shit and then just start beating their chest about how great they are. How great are we?
Well, I'm
Look
saying
at
that's
the-
not
look-
going to
look-
happen. I mean,
Well,
in-
I
in
mean,
the case of
this is
Panama.
this is like a global criticism. Like this is what ignoring everybody who has less than you and only looking out for yourself looks like at its apex. Trump is the pimple on the ass of Western society. There it is. So we need to wash our ass. We need to clean up all of these crazed dictators who are trying to run countries. So if that means as a unit, we have to start buckling down and boycotting shit and saying, you know what, Germany, until you get your shit under control, tourists, you're not allowed to go to Germany. You have public ways of shaming and trying to control the narrative so that these people can't do these kinds of things without dire consequences. But if everyone just says, oh, man, those are the rules and he gets to do it. No, fuck that.
No, we won't be
Yell
happy
and
about it.
scream
We're
about
not
the-
going to be celebrating or anything, but there is literally, I suppose in some imagined world, NATO could go in on the side of Panama against a fellow native member and the biggest contributor to NATO. But I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, isn't
think
it
in
against
real
some,
life?
Isn't it against some rules that we signed up for?
No, because
For
you're
us to just
invading
military to just
a non-NATO country. It's against the rules for us to go to NATO, go to Panama and start shooting American troops along the canal. That would be against the NATO convention.
So
let's get Panama into NATO.
that worked really well for Ukraine.
Right.
And Chris
You're gonna be
is
getting
saying
everybody in NATO.
Greenland's protected by NATO because it's a Danish territory and NATO's Denmark's a full NATO member. But I feel Trump would use that as leverage. Yeah, absolutely, he will. I don't see why A, wouldn't do something about this, and B, why we would sacrifice our men and women to go and try and stop him.
Well, all right, let's think of non-military solutions to this, right? Trump takes the Panama Canal for himself. Wouldn't China and the European Union, which are the other two big economic superpowers, do something about it economically? Because
yes, there were sanctions.
So, like, there are things that the global community can do to stop America from being this like huge economic terror.
But as we see with North Korea, Iran, Russia, sanctions don't always get the desired results. They generally result in the poorest people in the country that has got sanctions against it not doing very well, and the richest just living their lives as they were before, buying their golden trainers and things, sneakers. Sorry, Mikey.
But
I'm yelling at the dog.
Oh, if Trump pissed off China in a real way, China would drop some sort of economic hammer on the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, we've already had a bit of a trade war, didn't we, back in this first administration?
Yeah, and how'd that go for the farmers? We had to bail out all their friggin' farms for his stupid ass idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, hurting America economically would hurt Trump because having a bad economy is something that Trump doesn't want. Mm-hmm. And he's going to end up with one whether he likes it or not, because there's a housing crisis that's about to happen. There's inflation that's still going up. Like, Trump's going to end up with a shit economy in like 1 to 2 years, and it's going to be all his fault. You can't blame.
There's literally no Democrats in charge. You kicked us out of everything. You got rid of all the DEI hires, all the lesbians, all the blacks, the Mexicans, the Indians. You done got rid of everybody. It's all white dudes, and it is falling on his face.
Mikey, there's always someone else to blame. He'll move on to the Jews, and where they're gone, he'll move on to the Catholics or the atheists. Or
right, but less and less people are going to
hats on Thursdays. You know what I mean? There's always a minority.
That's a hard sell to white America that I'm on your side and you should listen to me when your ass is getting evicted for the third time because you can't afford to live anywhere.
This is the thing. The psychology of people is that when things go wrong in their life, it's always someone else's fault. When things go right in their life, it's because they're fucking awesome. You know, you got an entire generation who think they're the fucking Wolf of Wall Street because they bought their house in 1962 for like $2,000, and now it's worth over $1 million. And they're like, hey, look at me, I'm the Wolf of Wall Street. And you're like, no, you're just a lucky bastard. And
Trump may get away with those sort of things, but Congress won't. The congressmen who support Trump will get voted out.
Yep.
And then he won't have as much control.
Where that came from. You've got 330 million people in the States. You know, you only need, a couple hundred Congress people.
Yeah, 300 or 435. But
just go in the street and pick them up, put them in there. Vote this way, dickhead.
Listen, the midterms are only 2 years away, and the Republicans have a 3-vote majority in the House and a 3-vote majority in the Senate. And those senators who get caught in the Trump crosshairs are going to lose. Because when the economy turns bad next year, they're going to blame Congress, if not Trump.
I don't think they will. I mean, we could have a wager on it. 10 solid British pounds. Do you know we used to have Charles Darwin on the £10 note until quite recently? Charles Darwin, Tim. You have In God We Trust. We had Charles fucking Darwin.
Hey, we got Hamilton.
Charles Darwin, known racist. Congratulations.
He wasn't a racist. What?
Sure he wasn't.
No, social Darwinism has nothing to do with Darwin. It was long after he died that people started talking about.
No, I didn't read his book. You're
that
right.
kind of shit. Anyway, right. Okay, maybe he was product of his time.
He was. It's okay. It's okay. You're reflexive. white washing of historical figure. I know Isaac Newton was a racist. It's okay. I know. It's not a secret.
He was also
We
an
can be honest.
alchemist and a closet homosexual. But you had to be.
Well,
back then.
he was only in the closet because everybody else was weird.
Not a closet homosexual. You had to be an alchemist.
All right.
It was the rules.
You have to.
You have to.
It's a must.
We've got some super chats to get through. We've got Tim Ballum, £5 super chat, thank you. Good luck with bird flu, guys. CDC officially ordered by Trump. White House to cease working with the WHO, effective immediately. That's from Tim. Yes. Damien, £2 super chat. Suez, 1956. Yes. Very good point, Damien. This could be very much the Suez crisis for America. I don't think it's going to stop him trying it, at least. And Tim says one handheld device could close the canal. Graham, yes, I know. I know that. I know that it would be absolute foolhardiness for Trump to go and invade Panama to try and take control of the canal. But I don't think that's going to stop him.
I still think the most likely scenario is he does absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I agree. I think that he's just doing a, what's it called? When you give a high stakes thing and then people back down.
But see, he likes
moving
to do
the goalposts. It's called moving the goalposts.
But when he wants to,
I mean, like the salesman thing where they say, "Oh, it's worth this much," and you go, "Oh, that's a lot.
Oh,
well, I'm going to give it to you for this."
Oh,
much.
lowballing, yeah.
But he likes to do that. Like if we're talking about like a poker game, like he likes to use his chips as defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he overly calls everything. You know, he's always pushing his weight around on the table or whatever. Okay, keep all these little spats and all these little dust ups, and he loses a couple of chips here. That shit adds up. You know what I mean? So fucking with the coffee industry overnight, those dudes had heart attacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then they're not fucking. All right, man, stop fucking around. You know what I mean? You almost cost me a whole bunch of money. So that instability doesn't breed allegiance over here like I think you think it does. You know what I mean? Because people don't like it when their fucking shit might just be gone the next day. Like TikTokers, yeah. Oh, thanks for bringing it back. Don't let that shit disappear again. You know what I mean? Like if it gets around to him that he's the reason why if they find out that he's the actual reason why it got banned in the first place, they're not going to be so, you know what I mean? Because he fucks with shit and breaks it. Oh, I'm going to start, you're not getting soybeans from the Midwest anymore. And then all them dudes lost them farms and they were like, don't bring up the farmers anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he just moves on, but he hasn't said shit about farmers since he cost them the farm.
Yeah. I've just got one more super chat. Thank you very much to Tripod 9000. I have a bottle of port waiting for the day Trump finally has the common decency to snuff it. Yeah, indeed. I mean, I might have something a bit more stronger than port, actually. But yes, it's going to be a glorious day. We will be dancing on the streets. There was a chat when someone said in the chat about. Sorry, I've missed. Yeah, this was Leslie Turner, and this is what I feel as well, Leslie. How are you so sure that the midterms will be a free and fair election?
Trump's not involved in it.
Right.
Yeah, but who is it on his cronies involved?
It's done state by state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And haven't his cronies in the States put loads of voter repression in place?
Well, we've been dealing with that kind of shit forever. So, I mean, yes, there are voter ID laws. There are like some disenfranchisement vote laws out there, and they get struck down and put back up every so often. I think the one thing that Trump doesn't have full control over is sort of the elections, because it's not run at like a federal level. No election is run at a federal level. It's all state by state.
For that reason.
And there are independent watchdogs, there are state agencies, and
Trump
there are
just
federal
got
agencies.
Rid of a bunch of independent watchdogs from the.
No, I don't mean government watchdogs.
Yeah.
I mean like nonprofit organizations who their job is to oversee making sure elections are fair. Okay. Kind of like the United States tries to do in other countries, but here. And
okay, because they do a really good job of that in other countries.
It works perfectly.
Yeah. But
never missed.
See my wink.
Every state has an agency that oversees that state's elections, and it's really hard. And Trump found this out in 2020. It's really hard to fuck with that.
Yeah. Well, next pro in the chat is saying, I've been saying on MAGA streams, buyers regret incoming. They have no idea how bad it will be for them. I don't agree. I honestly have met people whose lives have been turned upside down by Brexit. They've got grandchildren who don't speak to them anymore. They don't see their grandkids, you know? But they still think Brexit was the best thing we ever did. And I think there's going to be millions and millions of Trump voters who, no matter how bad it gets, and yet, Mikey, they might be sleeping on the park bench, giving blowjobs to sailors for loaves of bread, but they'll still be like, I love Trump, because there's no logic to it. It's just pure emotion. He makes them feel good about themselves.
But
and that's something that the Dems can never
after
do.
a year of Trump fucking up our economy, will it be 72 million of them? How many less will there be?
Yeah, well, I don't think there's going to be that many less.
The raw milk's going to take out a bunch.
Well, I thought this about COVID, where Republicans weren't getting vaccinated and dying left, right, and centre, but they've been replaced by the incels. So, there's still enough voters for them. There's a sucker born every minute.
They're not going to vote. They're not going to vote again.
Trump is going to say in a year's time, when
unless
the economy's
they're going to
gone
get $1
to
million,
shit, he's going to say the economy's gone to shit, and it's because of ... It could be Hollywood. It could be buildings.
Hollywood burned down already.
Less than 5 stories. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It could be a fictional place. It could be Nambia. There you go. It's because of the people of Nambia who have caused all the economic problems, and his fan base will believe
but that's not his brand, right? His brand is to take whatever is in the zeitgeist and then to take the most extremist take on it, and then just run with it, and then give people a blowtorch and say, "Let's do this," right? And they're like, "Yeah." What is he's not. That is, he needs a win to have it work. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has to go on, okay, I'm going to get rid of these people, and they're going to do this for you. And then it's like, yeah. So then, okay, now I know that didn't work, but we're going to go for this thing. Like, he will never admit that he failed at something.
Yes. He will never admit that he failed, but it doesn't matter. He failed at the wall. He failed. He
didn't have to in the first administration because he lost the second time. Like, he stalled and did nothing so long. Like, the first 2 years of that was literally nothing. And then, you know what I mean? Like, so all of this has, like, actual... like electoral effects on things. Like, he has to deliver something. Like, you have to feed the base. And if he has nothing to feed the base with, because they're not going to check in to politics for like another 6 months, dude. Like, they do not care about the day-to-day shit. But they are going to start noticing, like, when the tax returns start to come back, and when them grocery bills are like, so it's going to take some time because they're not paying attention right now. They're not listening to anything we say. They're back to, watching their sports and other stuff. They only clock in when something really important to them checks up.
But I'm saying is that they're not going to...
The local news around here, they report on shit like grocery prices, because they give out all of our like recall information and stuff like that. So when the recalls start getting crazy, and then the recalls stop happening, and then they're just people, I was at the grocery store and I tried this. People do daily news kind of shit to get this stuff to the local people. So nationally, it's hard to give you the answers for like some of your questions, but when shit goes south, people will hear about it. And that is going to be what he has to own, and then say, we're going to do more of that. And that's exactly what Biden and Kamala Harris did. This sucked for you, didn't it?
Yeah, but,
more of it.
But Mikey, they were trying to appeal to Democrats and intelligent people who give a shit about politics. The people who vote for Trump,
everyman.
They will come up with... They're doing it already of regs. They're doing it already, saying, the price of eggs are going up because of bird flu and because of this. And, they're not blaming Biden anymore because they can't. But they're not going to blame Trump.
But they got on stage and they said, this is the best economic recovery in all of the G7. You should be proud to have... Like, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? They tried this. It doesn't work on Americans.
It does work on the MAGA lot, mate. I think you overestimate their capability.
That's why they vote. I'm saying that's why they voted MAGA, because this message of that sucked. We're going to have more of that. Just trust me, bro. It'll get better. It doesn't work. So this is going to, what are we, 2 weeks into this isn't working. People don't rock with shit that doesn't work. If he can't be the change, or you know what I mean, whoever is coming in next automatically has to be the change candidate. Because people hate it when you back something and it sucks and it doesn't work. This is exactly why I don't fucking follow politics in the first place, because
I
it
would,
never does anything anyway.
if
Everything
this
is
was
just as
if this was
expensive.
business as usual, and this was George H.W. Bush or even Ronald Reagan or Nixon even, or
the knife
Obama
down,
or
honey.
whoever, I'll be agreeing with you 100%. But this is Trump, and he's something else. He's something different, and I don't think that's something that a lot of people sort of take on board when they're dealing with him. They're going, although people will wake up, people will go, oh shit, my groceries haven't got any cheaper. I'm angry at Trump now. I don't think they will. I think they'll just go, I'm angry at immigrants. I'm angry at this. I'm angry at that. I'm angry at.
How do we measure this? Approval
Everyone's
ratings?
trying to correct me on Namibia or Nambia. Trump said about 6 years ago, he was talking about an African country, and he said Nambia. There's a Gambia and a Zambia. There isn't a Nambia. That's why I used. There is a Namibia, but there isn't a Nambia. Anyway, or Narnia. Right. Anyway, Mikey, sorry.
So how do we measure whether approval ratings? Is that what you want to use as the metric? Like, I think his approval ratings are going to stay sub 40s for all of his all of his shit.
Yeah.
Trump has a
sub-40s.
definite floor when it comes to his approval ratings. They never really dip too much, but he has a ceiling too. They never really get that high.
No, I think they're going to stay exactly the same for the whole time until he dies in office, which he's going to do.
I think they're going to drop.
You need to understand that this guy is never going to not be your president until the day he carks it, until the day he leaves the White House in a box.
I'll throw this up. Year one, 25%. That's my guess. So you plant your flag somewhere on the board, and let's see.
Okay.
Let's see where you end up.
On an average for polling, is that what we're doing here?
Yeah. After
35.
year one, 35 for Tim.
What you mean?
Let's
say,
see,
Graham?
What's he
his
on at the
usual
moment?
hanger.
Minus 40.
Hmm?
What's his approval rating at the moment? Minus 40 or something. What is it?
Hold on, I can look that up.
No, don't tell him that's cheating.
Oh, well, I'm gonna look it up.
This is a blind guess. This is
Oh,
a
well, I
vibes
can
guess.
say what I think it's going to be. It's going to be exactly what it is now. I don't think it's going to go up. I don't think it's going to go down.
So you got to guess.
Well,
It's a
whatever
fuck
it is
guess.
now, I don't know what it is now. I haven't looked at it.
That's cheating.
Last time I checked his approval rating, it was something like 40% or something.
So you're gonna say 40?
If that's what it
So
is
you're
at
at-
the moment.
So you're at 40, Tim's at 35, and I'm at 25. We will see. Mark it down in the chat. Chat.
Paul is saying it's 36.
Block the stay.
Okay.
That's what Tim had. You prices righted Tim. That's
God
rude.
damn it. $1, Bob.
$1, Bob.
Lee is saying Trump ain't doing 4 years. Graham Vance will be in at some point. Well, that's the hope. You know, he's an old man. He's not a well man. He's not a fit man. Not a healthy man.
You know, JD Vance gonna be impeached so fast.
Well, that's the hope, isn't it? But I mean, I genuinely,
He better.
I would
he
stake.
better have a hair out of place.
If I had a reputation, I would stake it on Trump dying in office, one way or the other. Whether that is in the next few months or whether it's in 10 years' time, he will cark it in office. But
So now that we've all given it out, according to the latest polling, Trump has a 45% approval rating.
45. Okay. I think it's going to be 45 in a year's time then.
It's been sitting around like 45, 50 since the inauguration.
Right. Okay.
Ooh, that honeymoon is going to end swiftly. And you know what I win? A ticket to Scouser Island. I get my asylum granted.
You get 6 months in Panama. Well, if the Americans haven't invaded, if they have invaded, then you're probably getting put in a internment camp.
So that's how I get into the base, you see. First, I go to Ginger Island. I pretend to be a tourist.
Take a boat.
I will
around the
say
coast.
that like the political makeup of the Republican Party is very ambiguous currently. Like, it's not that everyone in the Republican Party is going to back Trump no matter what. And we've seen that in some of his nominees for cabinet positions. I mean, Hegseth only got by because Vance was the tie-breaking vote there. Like 3 Republicans defected from that, and they don't think that what's her name, Tulsi Gabbard, is going to get through. They think that more Republicans.
They're drawing the
are gonna
line
be
at
against
that. They're not drawing the line at the racist, tattooed rape man. Okay.
She's not a Christian.
But there is a point where there are some holdouts in the Republican Party who will go against Trump, even though he's threatening the primary, every single one of them.
Mm.
And I think that, when Americans self-survey themselves, I found this Pew Research poll, only about 27% identify as like populist right. And that's Trump's playground over there, is populism.
Yeah.
The only reason, well, there are many reasons Kamala Harris didn't win, but the only reason Trump put together the coalition he did is because he presented himself as the change candidate. See, he got independents to vote for him that aren't going to do so when he fucks the economy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think they will. I think they'll. I think they'll follow him into the valley of death. I mean,
Well, there are people who are not politically aligned with Trump who voted with him and also voted with like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
yeah, that's really weird.
And
Voting for
the
a
same,
feminist and a rapist.
right.
Cognitive
And
dissonance is a hell of a drug.
when we figure out why that happened, we can fix it. The Democrats can probably run on a message that AOC has been pushing forever and Bernie Sanders has been pushing forever, that is actually going to reach American people. AOC has been reaching American people and Kamala Harris did not. Like, there are Democrats who didn't vote for Kamala Harris and voted for AOC, and we got to figure out why.
Yeah, but what's the popularity of AOC?
Big.
Very, very.
Big.
Let me see.
I like her for 2028. But I think we need. But I hope she doesn't run as a Democrat. I think we need an alternative from all the corporate media and all the corporate lobbyists, because we can't have a clean anything. Because I mean, Peter Thiel's on Trump's side this time, but he could switch right over to the Democrat side. Same thing with Elon, and they'll embrace him.
Yeah, that is true.
They do not care where the money comes from. They gathered all that money for that election and they gave it all to the corporate media structure.
Yes.
That's where all the money went. Are you kidding me?
AOC's favorables are 61%.
Oof.
And that is nationwide polling, not just her voting district.
I'm looking on the YouGov site for the US, and it's got it's got AOC on.
In her district, it's 76%.
Yeah, in her district, she's quite beloved. But yeah, popularity 42%, disliked by 24%, neutral 17%, as opposed to Kamala, who is on 54% popularity and disliked by 31%. So there's Kamala didn't win, and she's more popular than AOC.
BRB.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tim Ballon, be right back.
Tim Ballon has just dropped in another super chat. As the US is out of the World Health Organization, will they still provide samples of any new novel virus to other nations so they can develop vaccines, or will it be kept back so the US farmer can make money? Tim, thanks very much for the question. I think the latter. I don't know. Mikey, are you going to steal all our germs and make vaccines and then keep them for yourselves to not use, because vaccines are evil, apparently?
Well, what I plan on doing is infecting myself with them and then going to all the countries myself.
Oh, cool. Excellent.
I will be using a plane, though.
Yeah.
Unlike some people.
Like some disgraceful, backpacker, skanky backpackers. I was going to wrap up soon because we've gone way over time, and poor old Tim was saying he's got to go at the top of the hour, and that was half an hour ago.
But like when the bird flu gets bad, now people are worried that they won't even be informed when it's coming near them or what precautions take, because this,
yes,
when the kids want to eat ice cream for dinner every day. Okay, you ate ice cream all for dinner last night, and now it's the morning after.
Yeah.
These are you can't just, I don't know. I don't know how close to the skin you have to get to cutting your nose off to spite your face. I don't know how deep the knife has to go before people start realizing you don't want to do that. Because, dude, germs suck.
What
Lockdown sucked.
to go back to the original question asked at the beginning of the show, like, what's being done about it? Is anything being done about America pulling out of the WHO? What can be done about it pulling out of the Paris Climate Change Agreement? Are the companies, NGOs taking the charge on this, or what's happening?
Well, Big Pharma's been completely unleashed. They're about to jack up all the prices. So, I mean, who knows how much y'all will have to pay for them? I mean, maybe Trump will get some cheap ones out for him and his friends and family or whatever, but there's no guarantee that that'll be affordable for us.
Right.
Like, you don't like they made it. It's not my fault that you don't have $2,000. Like, it's not my fault. I have to make this money, and it'll probably be owned by like some 28-year-old.
Yeah, hedge fund manager whose daddy bought him a
like
place
Vivek.
Harvard. Yeah,
just like Vivek.
Yeah.
Who's running for governor?
We've got Tim Ballum in the chat there. Thank you very much for the super chat. And again, Tim, you've been very generous this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Not going anywhere. ... Yeah, good. Tim almost came back then, and then he disappeared again. I was going to wrap up. I feel bad wrapping up if Tim's not here, because
well, before we wrap,
we'll have gone.
Well, before we wrap, everybody, on screen, there's a little blue @Ben Podcast Network. Go ahead and click that real quick. Hit that subscribe button. See a delicious little tasty visual treat. And then come on back. Or
subscribe.
And then drop a like.
Subscribe.
Yeah,
subscribe.
Come on over. We're trying to get monetized over here to keep this independent media going over on the wacky side of the pond.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting someone to complain about the fact that I've now got Trump as my logo for Stateside on the side of the screen. I don't know if you can see what's going out on YouTube. But no one's complained about it. So what I'd done is I'd made an alternative version of Trump's face in butter, just in case anyone said, "Look, Graham, I'm really sick of seeing Trump's face. Can you get rid of it?" So there you go. There's Trump's face in butter. There you go. And yeah. We're talking about naval vessels in the chat now as well. Could get chickens and solar panels, make your own omelette off grid. Yeah, so are the organizations coming together across the United States to fill in the gaps for the shit that Trump is pulling with these executive orders? Is anything happening? Or is it too early now?
We have to wait to see how everything moves, but I know behind the scenes, all of this is being like there are teams of lawyers in every state ready.
Yeah.
So the court stuff is the people are ready for it, because as soon as the Supreme Court decided to eat their own shoes, a lot of the Civil Liberty Union and a lot of these people who are deliberately out there to protect and enshrine the rights that we are endowed by the Constitution, they were already aware that this dude's an idiot and that he's going to be trying to go after shit. This 14th Amendment thing, you can't change the Constitution as a person. You have to, thank you. You have to, you got to get the states, you got to get 3/4 of the states to ratify something.
No. We keep talking about this. Okay.
You don't understand the Constitution, so
okay.
That's not my fault.
I feel like you don't understand the
You
Constitution.
don't read it.
Okay, so
You haven't
explain
read
to
it.
me how, without actually amending the Constitution, America went from a country where the death penalty was legal at a federal level to a country where in the 1970s it was illegal, and then it went back to being legal again.
Federally legal is not Constitution.
It was the interpretation by the Supreme Court. It changed.
Right, and then the president can sign executive orders, or the Justice Department can interpret laws differently. Like,
yeah,
it's not one thing, unfortunately.
That's why it's so hard to get things
it's required
passed.
for them to amend the Constitution. I don't think they could anyway. They don't need to. They just
Because
it is written in the Constitution how to amend the Constitution.
Yeah,
and every time I reference that, you say that doesn't say that, and I'm like,
okay, so
but
how
it does
did they
say
go
that.
from a country where the death penalty was legal under the Constitution because it wasn't seen as a cruel and unusual punishment, to a country where it was seen as illegal because it was a cruel and unusual punishment, and then went back again? Explain that to me.
The Supreme Court.
Yes.
But the Supreme Court can't just... The death penalty is not specifically in the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say the death penalty.
Right.
But are we talking about the 14th Amendment? Because I missed a
Yeah.
few minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Birthright citizenship is specific in the Constitution in the 14th Amendment.
Yes.
It is very specifically worded.
Yes.
There is very little interpretation that can be made there.
But then there's an exception.
For what?
The children of ambassadors, who are not covered by American law.
Right. And unless they can prove that everyone's the son, a prince somewhere.
No, it doesn't actually say children of ambassadors. That's the thing. It was put
But
in
that's
there to cover the children of ambassadors because they didn't want them to be US
that's a
citizens.
very specific thing.
Yes. But, they're using the Cornstalk laws to ban pornography. They're bringing back laws from the 1790s.
I don't know. I can still look up Pornhub right now.
I know, but I'm saying that
Do
they
it,
don't
Tim.
need
Prove
to
'em
change
wrong.
the Constitution in order to change what the Constitution means.
Right.
you
There are
everyday
different philosophies regarding this Constitution. There are people who believe that it says what it means exactly, and that's how you should interpret it. And there's lawyers who believe that you can interpret the Constitution with a variety of things.
Mm.
However, the later amendments are not easily interpreted other than what they say, because they're very long. You ever read the 14th Amendment? It's a very long amendment. It's not, the right to bear arms shall not be infringed.
Yeah.
It's pages. So it's very hard to interpret anything other than the meaning of the amendment as it is written.
Yeah, as a normal lawyer or as a normal person reading it, but the Supreme Court have got 6 people in it who aren't normal.
I mean, they've already gone against Trump on something. They will go against Trump. The Supreme Court is not an absolute win for Trump all the time. They've already gone against Trump on voter laws.
I think they just do that. They just like let the other team win now and again. Do you know what I mean? Like a football match, because otherwise it'll get really boring if the one team won all the time. It's like in motor racing. If just one person wins, people stop going to the races.
I think I get Amy Coney Barrett and the guy who cried during his hearings, Kavanaugh, being that way. But I think like John Roberts and Neil Gorsuch are a bit more moderate. Like Roberts sometimes sides with the liberal justices because that's what he believes. I don't think that he is specifically doing things in favor or not in favor of Trump, because he's been Chief Justice since Bush.
And especially if they know that their argument is just to like remove the citizenship of people that they don't like. Why on earth would they do that, knowing that if they ever made him upset, he would just take away their birthright citizenship? You know what I mean? Like Clarence Thomas is gonna be like, yeah, black people ain't people. I'm still cool, right? Like that, like
yeah, but he's a
I think
dickhead, so he might.
I think there's enough self-preservation in the nationalities of the Supreme Court justice that he's not gonna say, all right, everybody who's not white has to go. They're not all white.
Isn't he?
And a lot of them are
conservative, but they're not
Actually,
all
doesn't he
white.
have to go? He's a DEI hire. In fact, someone just pointed that Amy Coney Barrett's another DEI hire.
Trump
Like,
is
just
a
all be all
DEI
white men.
hire.
Like Gorsuch
Trump
and
is
Roberts are strict interpretationalists. They believe the Constitution says what it says.
Oh, they say that they do. In
Well,
reality, they just do what they're told by their political masters.
I suppose I'm not that cynical.
I am. I hate them all. I wish only the worst things happen to them, which I can't actually say on this channel without getting demonetized. Sorry. I'm sick of their shit.
You can say it over. You can say it over here, Graham. We're not monetized yet.
Yeah.
This got out my channel as well. I don't want to lose it. Anyway, but yeah. But listen, we've really got to wrap up. Tim, you said you had to go like 40 minutes ago.
The thing I had to do got canceled, so it's
cool.
cool.
Did it? Oh, okay.
Hey, nice.
I thought Tim's being very nice hanging around. But I'm going to get going. So if you want to keep going on your channel, Mikey, you're very welcome to. If you want to keep watching, head over to the Bin podcast. But I've got shit to do, man. Got shit to do. The link is in the title. If you go on the @Bin podcast, it should take you over there.
Push it. Push it.
Push it
then
real
you can,
good.
and then you can see the funny thing. Sorry, Wayne. Sorry, Wayne. It's good for business.
Oh, are you calling Wayne a Tory? Oh, don't do that. He gets very upset. Anyway, before we go though, I just want to ask, like, we were talking a little bit, and this is what I wanted to talk about tonight, but we have, as always, we talked about everything sort of, but about groups in America rising up and working together to get through this, but then working out what happens next. And please tell me that the Democrats are not just looking at the midterms and going, well, if we just keep doing what we've done in the past, then we'll be all right. Because I really don't think they're going to be.
I think the Democrats are very bad at organic grassroots movements. And unlike, let's say, the Tea Party movement, which started out as an organic movement, but became a very corporate one.
Yeah.
The Democrats don't have the brain for it currently. I think there will be a lot of independent groups that do rise up that will push for certain things from the Democrats, but I don't think the Democratic Party is in a position to do that itself.
Right.
Because of the way the DNC is run, because of the way they're nationally built, and even some of the state parties are very anti-grassroots. So
They snuff it out.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
The Democrats have to rethink their politics.
Are the people up in the Democratic Party have finally woken the fuck up, or are they still
Not yet.
So why do you think American Trump voters are going to wake the fuck up when the Democrats don't wake up, when they've had their arses handed to them on a plate by the most inept, incompetent, dreadful, racist, rapist person to ever hold high office?
Well,
they're immune from the consequences.
Here's the twist, Graham. The MAGA Republicans were the people that woke up.
And we didn't have anything to offer when they woke up.
The Republican Party didn't have anything to offer them.
Yes.
When Trump said he was running for office, everyone thought he was a joke.
Yes.
And then he started saying things and people liked it, and it became a grassroots movement. So those people are the reformers in the Republican Party.
They just want to reform it into a Nazi party, right?
Basically. I mean, yeah. But the Democrats don't have any reformers right now. The AOCs and the Bernie Sanders are on the fringe.
Yeah.
And Bernie's not even a Democrat. So,
right.
The progressive movement on the left has to offer something to its voters that appeal to them and that can force other Democrats to side with them. Right now, that's just not happening.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's hope.
They're like, wait. They're like, all right, guys, 2028, we're gonna get Liz Cheney on stage, but she's gonna be in the back this time.
What's the dumbest thing I've ever seen?
I hope that in out the 330 million Americans, they find one person with the riz required to actually win an election. There must be one. Surely there must be one. At least.
AOC 2028.
Ryan Reynolds. Oh no, he's Canadian, isn't he? Shit. Oh well.
John Stewart.
I don't think that AOC would win. Unless Trump fucks up so badly that people are literally living on the street.
I think if AOC was on some sort of national stage, like politically, I think she would fare very well. I think that I think the reason people voted for Trump and voted for her is they have some of the same qualities when it comes to how they talk to people. And they both, people listen to them. Like they appeal to lower middle class Americans because, Trump was a billionaire or whatever, but AOC, she started out working in a coffee shop or whatever, and then she became a congresswoman. And the way she speaks is very much against the establishment. And that's kind of the way that Trump speaks too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, some food for thought then, isn't it? So thanks very much, Tim and Mikey, for talking us through a few things on the other side of the bloody pond. I don't think I'm feeling any cheerier than I was when I started. I was like, there must be some ray of light on the horizon. And it's like, nah.
No, these are the darkest of days, Graham.
Well,
these are the darkest of days.
I think 3 states already kicked Trump in the teeth about the 14th Amendment thing. So there's that.
Just another 47 needed to go. We'll get there.
Come on.
Come on.
Other 47.
You can do it.
It
Put your
ting-
back into it.
It tinged off of our armor. That shit, that weak shit out of here, dog.
Well, listen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Mikey and to Tim. Thanks for the super chats, obviously. And if you would like to join me tomorrow morning, I'll be doing Morning Brew at 9:30. And until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.